श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रथायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees. Thank you very much for giving me another opportunity to share some thoughts on Srimad Bhagavatam with all the devotees. So last time when we had a small discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, we discussed from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, a brief overview of Canto 1. So, okay. So wherein we have discussed Canto 1 talks about three principal topics. The first three chapters talks about the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is mainly catered to talk about three topics. That is, Bhagavatam principally talking about Bhagavan and the means to attain Bhagavan, that is Bhakti, and the person who is supposed to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Bhagavan, that is Bhakta, a devotee. So about these three personalities, about Bhakta, Bhakti and Bhagavan, the first three chapters elaborate about it. And then how Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled, under whose inspiration, when and where it was compiled, was spoken about in the next three chapters, chapter 4 to chapters, first of 7 chapter. Then the rest of the first canto talks about how, when and where, between whom the Bhagavatam was narrated. Srila Sukadeva Goswami speaks to Parikshit Maharaj on the bank of Ganga at a place known as Shukatal. Understanding that Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by Shringi, the son of Shamika Rishi, that he is going to die in 7 days. Being inspired by the Supreme Lord, Sukadeva Goswami comes there and speaks the entire Bhagavatam. So in that assembly, there seated Suta Goswami. And that Suta Goswami eventually spoke the same Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. So now Suta Goswami is going to relate what was the conversation that took place between Srila Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So that starts in the second canto. So at the end of the first canto, Srila Parikshit Maharaj raises 4 questions. So in the beginning of the second canto, Srila Sukadeva Goswami first answer these 4 questions and then the discussion goes on. So these are very important questions which are very much important for Parikshit Maharaj and for all of us. So wherein Srila Parikshit Maharaj asks, Ata pruchami samsiddhim yoginam paramam guru purushasyeha yat karyam mriyamanasya sarvada. Purushasya iha, for all the living entities who are residing in this material world, what they are supposed to do under all circumstances, especially when they are about to die, in order to attain the highest perfection. So he asked that, Ata pruchami samsiddhim. My dear Sukadeva Goswami, please tell me what is the ultimate perfection and what is the means for attaining that ultimate perfection for people in general, especially for a person like me who is about to die. These were the two questions. And then the next verse he says that Yash Shrotavyam Ato Japyam Yat Kartavyam Nrubi Prabhu Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va Bruhi Yadva Vipareyam. What men must hear, chant, remember, and worship. What one should not hear, chant, remember, or worship. So, like these four questions, Srila Parikshit Maharaj asked unto Sukadeva Goswami. So, answers to these four questions are presented in the first three chapters of the second canto, and then many other topics are discussed. But in summary, the entire second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see it as introduction to the entire Bhagavatam, including the first four chapters of the third canto. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter can be seen as the setting the scene. Second chapter, Srila Prabhupada is entitled as Contents of Gita Summarized. So what are the different subjects that are discussed throughout the Bhagavad Gita are briefly presented in the second chapter itself. Similarly, whatever may be the topics that are discussed in the rest of the Bhagavatam, starting from the fifth chapter of the third canto till the end of the 12th canto, are briefly summarized in the 10 chapters of the second canto and the first 4 chapters of the third canto. So the first canto was like preface to the entire Bhagavatam. The second canto and the first 4 chapters of third canto can be seen as introduction to the entire Bhagavatam. Introduction is that particular section of a book wherein the action of introducing something is presented. It makes clear to the reader the text purpose. So what is the main subject matter that is being presented in the text is briefly introduced to the reader at the very beginning of the book that is being talked about here. So here we understand that how the Bhagavatam was first revealed by the Supreme Lord Narayana unto Brahma, and then from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and Vyasa to Sukadeva. So how this entire chain of disciple succession we understand from second canto. And then we also understand the excellence of bhakti over karma, jnana, and yoga in the first 3 chapters. In the 4th chapter, how Srimad Bhagavatam was originated from Lord Narayana, we understand. Chapter 5 to 7, we understand Lord's greatness. And then later on in the third canto, first 4 chapters, we understand Lord's sweetness. In between, Parikshit Maharaj asks various questions, and Sukadeva Goswami says that in order to answer all your questions, I need to speak Bhagavatam, which contains 10 topics. It's like that. So these are the basic things. And in the third canto, we also understand that how Srimad Bhagavatam was again revealed by Lord Shesha unto Kumaras, from Kumaras to Sankyana Rishi, from Sankyana Rishi to Parashara, from Parashara to Maitreya, and Maitreya to Vidura. So what are the circumstances in which Maitreya spoke the same Bhagavatam to Vidura? That is also kind of introduced in this part. So as Parikshit Maharaj made inquiries unto Sukadeva Goswami that please tell me what is the highest perfection, please tell me the means to attain that, and please tell me as part of the means what I should chant, what I should hear, whom I should worship, what I should always contemplate upon, and what I should not do, do's and don'ts, like that he asks. As an answer to that, Sukadeva Goswami says that, my dear Arjun, my dear Parikshit Maharaj, karma is not the suitable means to attain the highest perfection. Karma yoga does not bring one to the highest perfection. That should be kept aside. Then Parikshit Maharaj might ask, okay, what is the process and what are the different activities in that process? In order to answer that, Sukadeva Goswami says that, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavya Ichchata Abhayam. So if at all you want to attain fearlessness, the highest perfection, the best processes are please hear about, chant about, contemplate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Bhagavan, Ishvara, and Sarvatma. So here there is a word called cha. Here cha is there, here cha is there, which also includes the other 6 processes of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These are the 9 principal activities a person must perform, performing which a person can attain fearlessness at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the activities one should do. Like that, Srila Sukadeva Goswami indicates to Parikshit Maharaj. Then he says that, so somebody might have a question, why not Jnana, why not Ashtanga Yoga, why not Nishkama Karma? What is the problem with them? Why only Bhakti with these 9 items? So Sukadeva Goswami says that, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janmalabha Parapumsham Ante Narayana Smriti. Whether somebody might be practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, Swadharma Parinishtaya indicates Nishkama Karma Yoga. Whether somebody might be practicing Jnana Yoga, Sankhya indicates Jnana Yoga. Somebody might be practicing Ashtanga Yoga, Yoga indicates Ashtanga Yoga. But ultimately, all these processes will attain highest perfection if they come to this point, Ante Narayana Smriti. The results of all these processes can be obtained only by Narayana Smriti, not by otherwise. So instead of doing all these things and coming to this point, better do from the very beginning only Narayana Smriti. So in that way, Sukadeva Goswami indicates that Bhakti is best. So in order to cater to the needs of others, those who are sitting in that assembly, who all came in order to assist Parikshit Maharaj, in order to please them, Sukadeva Goswami speaks the opinion of others. If somebody is willing to attain highest perfection, what they are supposed to do? Etan nirvidya mananam ichatam aktobayam yoginam rupa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. So here Sukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, my dear Parikshit, may you do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasa, so many things. So Parikshit might say that, I have only 7 days. What all I can do? I will not be able to do so many things. So please tell me one thing what I can do. So Sukadeva Goswami says that the great sages of the past have mentioned that, have told that among these 3, Kirtanam is best. So then Parikshit Maharaj might ask, what kind of Kirtan I should do? There are 4 kinds of Kirtan: Nama Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, and Rupa Kirtan. Kirtan about Lord's holy name, Kirtan about Lord's wonderful qualities, Kirtan about Lord's wonderful bodily features, Kirtan about Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. So like that. So among these 4, Nama Kirtan is best. And how frequently I should do Nama Kirtan? Harer Nama Anukirtanam. Continuous chanting of Lord's holy name is the best process. This has been established by the great sages of the past. So like that, Sukadeva Goswami indicates. So eventually, by talking about other processes, Sukadeva Goswami says that Bhakti Yoga and Devata worship should be kept aside, which do not award the highest result. Ashtanga Yoga is recommended for the yogis. Those who are practicing Jnana or Ashtanga Yoga mixed with little Bhakti, they can take shelter of Ashtanga Yoga. Within 7 days, they can quickly raise their prana from the Mooladhara Chakra all the way up to Ajna Chakra, and piercing through Brahmarandra, they can enter into Sayujya. That can be done by those who practice Jnana or Ashtanga. So that is okay. So, but for devotees, Bhakti Yoga is recommended. So Sukadeva Goswami says that. Then finally he says his own opinion. Nahi ato anya Shiva Panta Vishata Samsrutau Iha Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogo Yato Bhavet. Among all the different processes that are being practiced by different people, Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the most auspicious path. There is nothing more the auspicious than Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Tasma Sarvatmana Rajan Hari Sarvatra Sarvada Shrotavya Kirtitavyasta Smartavyo Bhagavan Runam. Therefore, as part of Bhakti Yoga, may you continuously, at least for the next 7 days, do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, etc. So these are the best practices that I can recommend for you. So somebody might ask a question. So if Parikshit Maharaj does these things for 7 days, or all of us, if we do all these things for rest of our life, what is that we are going to get it? What is that ultimate perfection that we are going to get? That Sukadeva Goswami says that Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmana Satam Katamrutam Shravana Puteshu Samrutam Punantite Vishaya Vidushtashem Vrajanti Tacharana Saroru Ankitam. If we hear Srimad Bhagavatam continuously, if Parikshit Maharaj, if he hears Bhagavatam continuously for the next 7 days, whatever material is there that are there within our heart, they will be evaporated and we'll get shelter at the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Vrajanti Tacharana Saroru Hankitam. We will get shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in his spiritual abode. That will be the result of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, constantly discussing the topics that are presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, contemplating upon the wonderful dealings of the Supreme Lord with his devotees. So the result is going back home back to Godhead and becoming an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The highest perfection is attaining the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, which is accomplished by hearing and chanting the names and the pastimes of Supreme Lord. This is the highest process and this is the highest goal. So like speaking all these things, Srila Sukadeva Goswami establishes the supreme position of bhakti. Even if somebody might say that, so what about Devata worship? So Lord says that even whether with so many material desires or without any material desires or with the desire to attain liberation, I recommend bhakti as the supreme process, practicing which all the desires are fulfilled. Akama sarva kamova moksha kamova udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Even those who want to worship the devatas also can attain the highest perfection, that is Krishna Prema, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, by practicing bhakti in the association of wonderful devotees. So like that, Srila Sukadeva Goswami establishes that whatever one can attain by practicing karma, whatever one can attain by practicing jnana, whatever one can attain by practicing yoga, can be obtained by practicing bhakti. But by practicing bhakti, something which cannot be obtained by other process also obtained. That is prema. Prema unto Supreme Lord cannot be obtained by karma, jnana, yoga, but can be obtained by the practice of bhakti. Thus, bhakti stands as the supreme-most process, which alone can award one prema. Thus, Sukadeva Goswami establishes the highest position of bhakti. So, in order to engage himself in the next 7 days, that Parikshit Maharaj understood that I need to hear, chant and meditate upon Lord's pastimes, Lord's holy names. Then Sukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj says that, my dear Lord, my dear Sukadeva Goswami, may you please discuss about Lord's various pastimes, which I am supposed to hear. Can you start with creation pastimes of Supreme Lord? So when Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami to describe the creation pastimes of Supreme Lord in order to understand the greatness of the Supreme Lord, Sukadeva Goswami initially offers prayers unto Supreme Lord and also his spiritual master, his father, Srila Vyasadeva, wherein he says that just like the Supreme Lord initially requested Mother Saraswati to manifest on the tongue of Lord Brahma, from that tongue there appeared the 4 Vedas. Similarly, now I will pray unto Supreme Lord to manifest on my tongue so that I can describe the glories of Supreme Lord, which can satisfy Srila Parikshit Maharaj, which can award the highest benefit to Srila Parikshit Maharaj. So then he remembers that originally the Supreme Lord personally spoke Bhagavatam in 4 verses to Lord Brahma. Now let that Supreme Lord may manifest in my heart as Paramatma and explain the meaning of those 4 verses to Parikshit Maharaj. Like that he prays unto Supreme Lord. Then Parikshit Maharaj talks about how at the beginning the Supreme Lord created the entire material universe, referring to the conversation that took place between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni. Long ago, Narada Muni also approached Lord Brahma in order to understand about the Srishti Leela. Lord Brahma talked about the same to Narada. Having spoken the process of creation, Lord Brahma at the end also speaks about different Leelavataras, the activities of different Leelavataras unto Narada Muni. Lord Brahma speaks about the Srishti pastimes of Supreme Lord and also other Leelavataras, pastimes of other various Leelavataras to Narada Muni. After speaking all these things, so Lord Brahma says that whatever I have spoken is nothing but different vibhutis and different transcendental activities of Supreme Lord. This particular subject matter is called as Srimad Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken by Lord Narayana unto me. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Yenme Bhagavatoditam Sangrahoyam Vibhutinam Tvameta Dvipilikuru. So Lord personally spoke to me this Bhagavatam long ago. I have spoken the same thing briefly. So my dear son, may you elaborate it and speak to people in general. Whomsoever you come across, may you present it everywhere. Then he says that Yata haro bhagavati nranam bhaktir bhavishyati sarvatmani akiladare iti sankalpya varnaya. This is a special request made by Lord Brahma unto Narada Muni. He says that wherever you may go, whomsoever you meet, please speak this Bhagavatam to all of them by making a special sankalpa that after hearing this Bhagavatam, bhakti should manifest in their heart. Yata haro bhagavati drinam bhaktir bhavishyati. In the future, whomsoever you may speak to this Bhagavatam, let bhakti be manifest in their heart. With that sankalpa, may you go around all over the universe and present this Bhagavatam to everyone. This was the instruction, this was the request by Lord Brahma unto Narada Muni. So, when Parikshit Maharaj, then Sukadeva Goswami stops his conversation. Then Parikshit Maharaj feeling little bit disturbed. I was asking a query and Sukadeva Goswami answering in few chapters and closing subject matter. I need to keep Sukadeva Goswami for the next 7 days. So keeping that in mind, Parikshit Maharaj asked so many questions, about 21 questions, etc. And then he also asked one more question that, my dear Sukadeva Goswami, please tell me where all Narada Muni went and to whomsoever he spoke this Bhagavatam and in whose heart bhakti manifested. So this was one of the important question asked by Srila Parikshit Maharaj unto Sukadeva Goswami. That's why we see throughout the Bhagavatam, we see Narada Muni coming and speaking to various devotees, various personalities, the Krishna Katha, and eventually all those personalities become wonderful devotees. In the 4th canto, Narada Muni speaks to Dhruva, who was very much disturbed by the sharp words of his stepmother, Suruchi, that he was going to perform austerities to get a kingdom greater than his father and grandfather. But Narada Muni comes and engages in Vishnu worship. At the end, he had darshan of Lord Vishnu and he forgot his original desire. And he was praying to Lord that please give me association of your wonderful devotees, not more than that. Anything I don't want. So like that, there is Prachina Barhi, who was attached to performing Karmakanda rituals Narada Muni comes and instructs him, and he also becomes a wonderful devotee. So like that, throughout the Bhagavatam, we see Narada Muni making so many devotees by speaking Bhagavatam to all of them. So, and Parikshit Maharaj also says that I am, I have lost all interest in eating and drinking. Since I am hearing Krishna Katha from your lotus mouth, I am completely nourished. You don't worry about my nourishment. May you continue to speak Krishna Katha without any stop in between. So he expresses his eagerness to hear more and more Krishna Katha so that Sukadeva Goswami can be inspired to speak more and more Krishna Katha. So that time Sukadeva Goswami says that, my dear Parikshit, in order to answer all your questions, I need to speak to you Srimad Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam was originally spoken by Lord Narayana unto Brahma at the very beginning of the creation. When Brahma was in dilemma, how to do, what to do, the entire creation, he performed tapasya. At the culmination of the tapasya, Lord Narayana gave darshan of his own abode, Vaikuntha. Then he gave his own darshan. Then touching the hands of Lord Brahma, Lord Narayana spoke the entire Bhagavatam in 4 slokas. And that Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken in 4 slokas to Brahma, that contains 10 characteristics. So what are those 10 characteristics of that Bhagavatam? That was mentioned in the 10th chapter. Atra sarga visargacha sthanam poshanamutaya manvantareshanukata nirodho muktir ashraya. So that Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken by Lord Narayana unto Brahma in 4 verses, which Lord Brahman spoke to Narada Muni and requested him to elaborate. That elaborated Bhagavatam eventually Narada Muni spoke to Vasudev and told him to compile. And Srila Vasudev compiled the entire Bhagavatam and told it to and gave that knowledge to his son Sukadeva Goswami. And that Sukadeva Goswami, in order to answer all these questions of Parikshit Maharaj, now going to speak. So that Bhagavatam will have 10 topics. Sarga means primary creation by Lord Vishnu. Visarga means secondary creation by Lord Brahma. Sthanam is about the maintenance of the universe, description of different places in the universe. Poshana is Lord's special protection unto his surrendered devotees. Utaya means the general activities performed by different people in this world. Manvantara, so different Manus and their rule that is being described. Ishanukata, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and his wonderful devotees. Nirodha means annihilations that take place at the end of Brahma's day and at the end of Brahma's lifespan. And Mukti, various means of attaining liberation. And then Ashraya, the Sammam Bonam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the 10 topics. And Sukadeva Goswami says that these 10 topics are wonderfully discussed by Maitreya Rishi unto Vidura. Dashamasya Vishuddhartam Navana Miha Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmana Shrute Nartena Anjasa. So like that, the great devotees such as Vidura and Maitreya describe these 10 topics properly. So among the 10 topics, 9 topics are related to the Jiva in the material world, and the 10th topic is related to the Lord in the spiritual world. So basically from the whole Bhagavatam, we understand that how Jiva, having taken up a sadhana, specifically now here, bhakti, what all he will do in this material world in order to purify one's consciousness. Eventually, after going to spiritual world, what are the different pastimes Jiva performs in association with the Supreme Lord? That will be explained in the 10th topic, Ashraya. So this is all different topics that are being explained in the rest of the Bhagavatam. So by seeing the journey of different devotees throughout the Bhagavatam, we become convinced about the path of bhakti and the goal of bhakti. With that conviction, we can practice our sadhana with more sincerity, with more dedication, with more conviction, with more submission. This is the whole intention of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, since Sukadeva Goswami told that Maitreya spoke this Bhagavatam consisting of 10 topics unto Vidura, then Parikshit Maharaj raises a question. So please tell me, how did Vidura happened to meet Maitreya and heard the entire Bhagavatam. So in order to tell that, the third canto talks about how Vidura left Hastinapur after the Shantiduta episode. Then he traveled to various holy places without being seen by whether it is Kauravas or Pandavas. Eventually, after many years at Prabhas, he understood that Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling the entire Bharata Varsha under one umbrella, but very recently in Prabhas, Lord Krishna and all the Yadus fought among themselves, and all the Yadus disappeared from this world. Also, Lord Balram and Lord Krishna departed from this world. When Vidura understood that everything happened, previously when he left Hastinapur, he did not go to Dwaraka directly. He wanted to purify his consciousness because he was associating with Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana and all these people for so many years. Now first he wanted to purify his heart by visiting all the holy places. Then he wanted to visit Dwaraka to have darshan of Lord Krishna and to take shelter of his lotus feet. But before he could go to Dwaraka, Lord Krishna and Balramji departed from this world. So then Vidura felt dissatisfaction for some time. Then he went to Vrindavan in order to visit different pastime places of Lord Krishna before giving up his body. So as he went to um, Vrindavan, just before that, before departing from this world at Prabhas, Lord Krishna met Vidura, he met Uddhava, this was Uddhava and Maitreya Rishi. So just before departing from this world, Lord Krishna spoke to Uddhava and Maitreya Rishi about what will happen to Yadus, what will happen to him, etc. etc. All those few things, some secret matters he spoke to him. Then Lord Krishna also told Uddhava that, my dear Uddhava, may you please go to Badrikashram and give them some message onto the sages of Badrikashram, Vyasdev, Narayana Rishi and many other sages who are living there. So accepting the order of Lord Krishna, Uddhava was on his way to Badrikashram. On the way, he also comes to Vrindavan. So that is where both Uddhava and Vidura met each other in Vrindavan. So there, Vidura asks Uddhava about the well-being of Lord Krishna and all the Yadus. That time Uddhava says, so what well-being you are asking? Lord Krishna departed from this world and all the Yadus also departed from this world. There is nothing to talk about them. So in that lamentation out of separation from Lord Krishna, Uddhava speaks about Lord Krishna's various pastimes that he performed in Gokul Mahavan, Vrindavan, Nandagaon, Madura, Dwaraka, Hastinapur, even his disappearance pastimes in Prabhas. Everything he speaks in brief, very briefly he speaks. Then he also says that before departing from this world, Lord Krishna spoke to me and Maitreya on some conventional topics. Then Vidura asks, can you please tell me what Lord Krishna spoke to you? Then Uddhava says that, Lord gave me a mission that I need to go to Badrikashram. May you please go to Maitreya. So Maitreya can tell you everything that the Lord has spoken to us. So based on that request of Uddhava, Vidura goes to Haridwar on the bank of Ganga. He meets Maitreya there and requests Maitreya to talk about various topics. So with this intention, the entire second canto establishes the position and importance of Bhakti and Bhagavan by briefly introducing all the different topics that are going to be discussed in the rest of the Bhagavatam. In the first three chapters, Bhakti is established as the highest means of obtaining prema unto Supreme Lord. And then in the next three chapters, Sukadeva Goswami described the greatness of the Supreme Lord by describing the pastimes of the Purushavasaras about creation of the universe, by describing the activities of the Gunavataras about the maintenance of the universe, and by briefly touching upon the activities of different Leela Avataras. Then, in the 8th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj asks various questions. In order to answer all those questions, Sukadeva Goswami said that I need to speak Bhagavatam, which was originally spoken by Lord Narayana unto Brahma in 4 verses, which contains 10 topics. He introduces those 10 topics in the 10th chapter, and then he says that those 10 topics are discussed by Maitreya and Vidura. So in order to answer how did Vidura came to Maitreya and heard that Bhagavatam, he talks about Vidura's journey from Hastinapur to all the holy pilgrimages, then to Prabhas, then to Vrindavan and meeting Uddhava, hearing Lord Krishna's pastimes in brief. So in that way. So Uddhava introduces Lord Krishna's sweet pastimes, sweet loving pastimes in brief as far foreshadowing of the entire Bhagavatam. Its foreshadowing means it is like in a movie, at the very beginning of the movie, something is shown. Something, for example, like a key of a car or key of a almara, something is shown in the very beginning. So later it is not discussed. It is not shown at all. But later in the second half of the movie, in the climax, that particular key plays a very important role. The whole climax is revealed and the movie ends. Same way, the main subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Lila, which is briefly narrated at the very beginning of the Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto, first 4 chapters. But those pastimes of Lord Krishna will be elaborated in the 10th canto and 11th canto. About 120 chapters are dedicated for this. So it is briefly shown in the beginning so that the reader can have patience, can wait till Lord Krishna's pastimes are being narrated in the 10th and 11th cantos, so that the devotee can go slowly, step by step. So it is like that. Then, having arrived at Prabhas, having come to the shelter of Maitreya, Vidura asks a particular question. Can you kindly speak about the creation of the universe of happiness and suffering? So basically, he says that, so my dear Maitreya Rishi, please tell me why the Lord had created this universe mixed with happiness and misery. He says that Sukhaya karmani karoti loke nate sukham vanaya duparamamba vindeta bhuya tatayeva dukkam yadatra yuktam bhagavan vadenna. This is my observation as the minister of Hastinapur that people in this world perform various activities with an intention to remove their misery and get happiness. But whatever activity they may perform, they neither remove the misery nor get happiness. Instead, they get more misery. But in spite of that, they don't stop performing activities. With a hope to get happiness, they undertake newer activity, newer activity, newer activity, but they are perpetually put into misery only. Please tell me what is the reason for this and what is the remedy for this? How can they come out of this? That was the inquiry made by Vidura unto Maitreya. And then Maitreya said that, why are you asking me? You are the direct son of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is all knowledgeable. You please go to Vyasadeva and talk to him. He will tell you. Then Vidura says that, Janasya Krishnad Vimukasya Daivad Adharma Shilasya Sudukkitasya Anugrahayena Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. Maitreya also said that you are direct son of Vyasadeva. You might have heard from Vyasadeva many times. You yourself know the reason and remedy. Then Vidura said that, as far as my understanding goes, this could be the reason. Janasya Krishnad Vimukasya Daivas. Since the people have turned their faces away from the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and then they have turned their faces towards Adharma, Adharma Shilasya Sudukkitasya. They have taken shelter of Adharma and they are performing adharmic activities. Because of that, they are put into perpetual misery, Sudukkitasya. But in order to liberate them from that miserable condition, Anugrahayeha Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. The great souls, the great devotees of the Supreme Lord, they travel far and wide in order to liberate such kind of people. Then Maitreya says that, why are you coming to me? You please go to such great souls. Your father Vyasadeva, Then Narada Muni says that Vidura says that you are also one such great soul. That's why I have come to you. Please help me understand about the process of creation, how the universe has been created, and how a person can be delivered from the clutches of Maya from this universe. So please talk about these two things. How the universe has been created with both happiness and misery, and how a person can be delivered from this universe. So in order to answer these two queries, Maitreya Rishi in the third canto talks about the primary creation of unlimited universes by Lord Vishnu and the secondary creation of 14 planetary systems and different variety of living entities who are living in those 14 planetary systems by Brahma in the third canto, first part, starting from chapter 5 to chapter 20. So they are known as Sarga and Visarga. Sarga means primary creation of universes by Lord Vishnu. It is basically creating different ingredients that are required for creating the universe. The universe is made up of 24 material elements, which are known as the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and 5 sense objects. The 5 properties of these 5 Pancha Mahabhutas: earth has fragrance, water has taste, fire has form, air has touch, ether has sound, and then 5 knowledge acquiring senses. With nostril, we smell the fragrance that is coming from the earth. Like that, the 5 senses, the nostrils, the tongue, the eyes, the ears, the skin. And then there are 5 karmendriyas: the mouth which speaks, the hands, the legs, the genital and anus, which are used for various activities. And finally, the 4 internal sense organs: mind, intelligence, ahankara, and chetana. Like that, these 24 elements have been created by the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu, who is an expansion of Lord Krishna, for the purpose of creating unlimited universes, in order to facilitate a place for jivas to fulfill their material desires. At the very beginning, he creates Prakriti from his various skin pores. And then, by glancing upon Prakriti, from Prakriti, he creates 24 material elements. And by entering into all those 24 elements, he combines them together and then forms unlimited Brahmandas. As we see here, unlimited Brahmandas are formed. In order to make that Brahmandas alive and become a place for suitable place for performing activities, that Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters into each and every universe. So here we have our universe, which is nothing but a empty golden shell into which Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters. Mahavishnu, only expanding himself as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters into that universe. When he enters, he sees only complete darkness. There was nothing inside. Then, with an intention to take rest, he creates water in the lower half of the universe, and the upper half of the universe is filled with ether and air. Then he goes inside the water and takes rest. Eventually, when he wanted to create further, from his navel, there appears a beautiful lotus consisting of a lotus leaf, lotus stem, and the lotus flower. And then, eventually, that Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into this lotus as its Paramatma, as known as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. There appears Lord Brahma on top of it, on top of the lotus flower. That Brahma understands that he need to perform tapasya in order to understand what he is supposed to do. So he performs tapasya. He had the darshan of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then he gets empowerment from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then he again performs tapasya. With that empowerment by Lord Vishnu, he divided the entire lotus into 3 divisions: Sargaloka, Bhuvarloka, and Burloka. But he was not satisfied with 3 divisions. He later on divided that into further 14 divisions, known as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Sargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And the 7 lower planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. So like that, Lord Brahma divided that lotus, which is coming from the navel of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, into 14 planetary systems, so that 14 variety of living entities can reside in the universe simultaneously. So that Lord Brahma eventually creates so many other living entities. That creation of Brahma is called as Visarga. Visarga means giving bodies for different variety of jivas, so that the jivas can engage in material activities to fulfill their desires, and also they can engage in spiritual activities to go back home back to Godhead. With that intention, he created 4 types of bodies initially, that is 6 types of immovable living entities known as trees and plants, then 28 variety of animals such as aquatics, reptiles, birds and beasts, and 1 variety of human beings, and 8 varieties of superhuman beings such as asuras, rakshasas, devatas, gandharvas, sadhyas, pitrus, kinnaras, kimpurushas, bhuta preta pishashas, etc. All of them were created by Lord Brahma. So in addition to all these living entities, Lord Brahma also creates the 4 Vedas, 4 Varnas, 4 Ashramas, their duties, the alphabets, different ways of compiling the poetry, prose, and different musical notes, different different singings, etc. All these different things that are required for people in this world, everything has been created by Lord Brahma. Everything has been facilitated by Lord Brahma, so that the living entities can perform their desired activities in this material world. So that was being spoken in the first 20 chapters of the 3rd canto. So in that way, we can see that the 3rd canto is being spoken in order to answer the question asked by Vidura. In the beginning, Vidura asked a question that, please speak about the creation of the universe of happiness and suffering. So please speak about why the Supreme Lord and how the Supreme Lord had created this universe with a mixture of happiness and suffering. So in order to talk about the process of creation, Maitreya Muni talks about the primary creation by Lord Vishnu. Primary creation of universes, unlimited universes by Lord Vishnu. And then Vidura asks, how Brahma created the bodies for different jivas from his own mind and body. In order to answer that, Maitreya Muni talks about the secondary creation of different living entities by Lord Brahma in chapter 10, chapter 12, and chapter 20. Then Lord Brahma's creation ends with the creation of Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa. And he specifically instructs Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa that, may both of you get married and take care of the Bhuloka, take care of all the human beings, and continue to procreate children through the union of male and female forms. So from there on, from the creation of Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, the creation continues on through the forms of male and female. There was no mystic creation afterwards. All the creation continued by the process of procreation. So in that way. So at that point of time, Vidura asked that, kindly tell me what are the activities of the Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa. So in order to describe the activities of Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, there comes the pastimes of Lord Varaha, the birth of the curse of 4 Kumaras unto Jaya Vijaya, their birth as the sons of Diti and Kashyapa, and then the Hiranyaksha's fight with all the different devatas, then eventually his fight with Lord Vishnu himself, then his deliverance. All these different pastimes are spoken as part of the activities of the first Manu, Swayambhu Manu. Then in the 21st chapter, again he asks, please talk about the lineage of the first Manu. So there, in order to answer that, in the 4 chapters 21-24, Maitreya talks about the birth of Lord Kapila. Then in the rest of the third canto, Maitreya talks about the teachings of Lord Kapila. So thus, these are the different topics that are being spoken in the third canto. One important aspect of the third canto is, third canto talks about the process of creation and the purpose of creation. The process of creation has been talked about from chapter 5 to chapter 20. How the universe has been created by Mahavishnu, how Lord Brahma facilitates by providing different bodies for the material activities of different jivas. But how those conditioned jivas can go back home back to Godhead, that is talked about by Lord Kapila in his teachings. So Lord Kapila talks about the purpose of creation. The purpose, though the universe has been created to facilitate the fulfillment of material desires of the living entities, the jivas can fulfill their desires by following the bona fide process known as karma, sakama karma or nishkama karma yoga, with which they can fulfill their desires. But once that is done, they should take up jnana or ashtanga yoga or bhakti to go back home back to Godhead. How that can be possible, that is explained in the third canto, second section. So this is the purpose of creating universe. When jiva comes to this material world, they can fulfill their material desires by following sakama karma or nishkama karma. But once that is done, by following nishkama karma, jnana, ashtanga and bhakti, eventually they can return back to spiritual world. That is indicated in the third canto. Both the purpose and process, both the process of the creation and the purpose of the creation are indicated here in the third canto. So somebody might question that, so you are talking that by practicing bhakti yoga, one will go back home back to Godhead. So what is that Godhead is all about? So same third canto talks about the description of Vaikunta in the 15th and 16th chapters. What does that Vaikunta look like when jiva takes the shelter of bhakti and goes back home back to Godhead? What kind of facilities the jiva put into? That is briefly mentioned. So then one might ask question, how come a jiva comes from that Vaikunta to this material world? That you mentioned that material world has been created to facilitate jiva's activities, facilitate for jiva's fulfillment of material desires. Why did jiva left Vaikunta and came to spirit material world? So in order to help us understand how Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by 4 Kumaras and they came down and took birth in 3 times as Asuras, that pastime is also narrated in the third canto. How Jaya, Vijaya were cursed by 4 Kumaras, they took birth as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, that pastimes are mentioned. This is to give an example how jiva comes from the spiritual world to material world. And then somebody might ask a question, okay, you're told that by following the teachings taught by Lord Kapila, one can go back home back to Godhead. Did anyone follow these teachings and went back to Godhead? For that also there are examples in the third canto. Both Kardama Muni and Devahuti, following the instructions of Lord Kapila, they went back to spiritual world. That is mentioned in the third canto. So in that way, the whole third canto establishes, by talking about all these pastimes, by narrating all these instructions spoken by Lord Kapila, it indicates to us that we need to understand our relationship with the material world, and we need to understand that how we can be liberated from this material world and can go back home back to Godhead. This is the first step in our journey back home back to Godhead. In order to help us understand this, the third canto talks about 3 topics. Sarga are the primary creation of the universes for jiva's inhabitants, and Visarga, secondary creation of various physical forms for jiva's enjoyment, and it also talks about the teachings of Lord Kapila, following which the Jiva can go back home back to Godhead. So these are the three principal sections that are presented in the third canto. So how? By taking shelter of the sadhanas instructed by Lord Kapila, prescribed by Lord Kapila, how a sadhaka will eventually go back home back to Godhead. That journey will be described starting from 4th canto all the way up to 10th canto. So that we will discuss whenever in the future we will meet once again. So here we will stop, and before closing our entire discussion, if we have a couple of questions from any devotees, we will briefly take up. Hare Krishna. If something is not clear based on our discussion, let us understand.
Prabhuji, actually, it is said that since we have a desire, we have fallen from the spiritual world to material world. And here it is an example there, Jay and Vijay, they don't have means the desire to fall from spiritual world to material world, but they have been cursed. So instead, means they don't have desire still, they have fall from spiritual sky to this material world. So why is it?
So that is only one example to help us understand how Jiva comes to material world. Even they also had a desire that they wanted to give the Supreme Lord the pleasure of experiencing Virya Rasa. The pleasure can be experienced by having a good fight. Whenever Lord comes to material world, he fights with ordinary demons. So from fighting with ordinary demons, Lord could not experience much pleasure of fighting, much pleasure of Virya Rasa. So Jaya and Vijaya thought that let us give pleasure to Supreme Lord of fighting, of giving a good fight. But that opportunity that cannot be experienced in the spiritual world. So they had that desire. So in order to facilitate that desire of Jaya and Vijaya, the Supreme Lord himself orchestrated the entire pastime of Kumaras coming to Vaikunta, and Kumaras were stopped by Jaya Vijaya entering into 7th gate, and then Kumaras becoming angry and cursing Jaya Vijaya to take birth in the material world as demons for 3 times, like that. These are all Lord's pastime only. But basically, they had one desire to facilitate Lord's Virya Rasa, but other living entities might have desire in a different way. So Lord facilitates the fulfillment of their desires by allowing them to come to material world. Something like that we can understand.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you for the class. We see, Prabhuji, by doing tapasya, we actually please Lord Krishna. But it is a very difficult to perform tapasya. We are very we are not so strong, for fulfilling or doing the tapasya. So how to increase that tolerance level, so that we can do more and more service to Lord.
If you are indicating traditional tapasya, that is not meant for the Kalyuga people. Traditional tapasya is basically meant for Satyuga people. Like Dhruva Maharaj and all, they performed Ashtanga Yoga, lot of tapasya and all. For Kalyuga, the prescribed method is chanting holy names. Harer Namanu Kirtanam. In the association of devotees, serving the devotees, serving the deity form of the Supreme Lord. These are the prescribed means. Tapasya for the point of tapasya, we get once in a while, every fortnight we have one Ekadashi. Once in a while we have festivals, we have fasting for half day or full day. If we do that much, that is much. The one tapasya we can think of is tolerating our ego, controlling our ego, tolerating our material desires. That is the greatest tapasya that we can perform in this material world. Nothing more than that required.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So we would like to thank you, Thank Pavaneshwar Prabhu for a wonderful class, giving the full overview of third canto. And I was feeling sometimes devotees feel bhakti is very easy. They should attend Pavaneshwar Prabhu's class. Then they will understand the depth of the third canto and the shastras and all. So it was so deep and it was so wonderful to go through all the verses. Thank you, Pavaneshwar Prabhu. It was wonderful to hear from you and overview. So we request you again and again to please honor us by addressing us and giving us the nectar of Bhagavatam classes and the verses. We'd like to thank Pavaneshwar Prabhu loudly chanting 3 times Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you, Pavaneshwar Prabhu. So we'll meet whenever next possible. Okay, we'll have a discussion among each other. And thank you all the other devotees for joining us. So we meet tomorrow for Japa and then in the evening for 4 o'clock for Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, specifically, and all the other devotees who joined us for today's discussion. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.